So I'm doing a little bit of work down here in the Nerd Bunker, getting things a little bit more organized, a little bit more cleared out for potentially some projects going forward. And as I was doing all this, I remembered that my friend, the Wargamer Viking, had sent me a message. He and I met in person, I think at Adepticon 2014, and he sent me a request and said, hey, I did this, 5 questions for Wargaming YouTubers thing, and a bunch of other people have gone through and answered it, and I wanted to know if you were interested. And I told him at the time, yes, I am. And then because I'm getting old, I then forgot. So I just remembered it, so I went and grabbed my camera and set things up, and now I'm going to answer those questions for the Wargaming Viking. Sorry about all of that. So the first question in the I Am a Wargamer project is, what got you started in YouTube? For me, it was 2010, and I was about to go to Gen Con, and I was following Beasts of War at the time, and they had a video about how their website was going and things like that, and also about, and at the end of the title it said something, and Gen Con, and I thought, oh, I'm going to be going to Gen Con. It'd be cool if they were going to Gen Con, and I could maybe say hi or whatever. That'd be kind of neat. So I watched the video, and at the end of the video they said, oh, and if anyone's going to Gen Con, leave a message, in the comments below, because we'd like to know. So I said, yeah, okay, I'm going to Gen Con. Been going since '93, and that was pretty much about it. And I forgot about it, went to bed because it was late. They're 6 hours ahead over there in Northern Ireland, and so when I woke up in the morning, I had an email from Beasts of War saying, hey, do you have an HD camera and a microphone, and would you be willing to talk to these people and designers and do interviews and all that stuff? And I was like, yeah. So I sent them a recording so that they could tell that I wasn't just a crazy person, or within reason. And so that was 2010. Gen Con was my first year working for Beasts of War. So I was a U.S. correspondent. I was one of the U.S. correspondents. There were 2 other guys who had kind of answered the call, but I did the majority of the talking and the interviewing during that particular year. And then years going beyond that, I did it more. And then I also started to do Adepticon. And I left. I basically stopped working with Beasts of War in early 2013, and it was totally, amicable. It was completely because I wanted to start my own channel, and so I thought it would be kind of a conflict of interest and stuff. So we, things were fine. Those guys are great, and then I started my channel in March, first day of March 2013. So I've been doing it about 3.5 years now, and honestly, beyond the whole thing about just sort of falling into it with the Beasts of War guys, the reason I started my own channel is really because I wanted to teach myself video production. And I've always thought that if you want to learn something, a new skill, apply it to a hobby. So I'm like, well, I want to make videos and kind of get into the filmmaking thing and all that. How can I do that? Well, I could make videos about my hobby being wargaming and stuff. So that's kind of how I got to where we are today. The second question is, where do you want your channel to go? That's a good question. I'm thinking, right now it's been doing great, and I've been really happy with everything that's been going on. And one of the things I did earlier this year is start the Tabletop Minions Paint Showcase Club on Facebook, and that's really helped to kind of build a community. That's one of the things that I want my channel to do, is to help build community. I would like there to be something where, people can I can bring people together and they can inspire each other and give each other, tips and hints and, lessons and things like that. People come in and say, I'm new to the hobby, I want to learn this. I can't answer all the questions, but at this point, about 1,500 of you on the Showcase Club can. So that's really helpful, and I think that's a great place. The Showcase Club, for those of you who haven't gone there and checked it out and try to join, it's just a free club, and people post pictures of things that they've finished, things that they have work in progress. They ask questions. It is not a place to link to your Kickstarter, to link to your gaming convention, to link, it's basically supposed to be pictures and questions and answers. That's what we're looking for. So that kind of community is something that I've been enjoying building, and I'm glad that the channel can really help to foster that. That's, I think, for me, something cool. Beyond that, some of you have seen that I'm working on some products. Some of you bought the t-shirt when I did the t-shirt design back in the spring. I'll be doing another one soon. I've also gotten dice produced. Some of you have seen pictures of those on Instagram and things like that. I've also got some, not lapel pins, but like enamel pins. Those have also been produced. I'm going to be putting all that stuff and a little bit more into a store soon, an online web store. So I guess that's kind of moving forward in that direction as well. But yeah, otherwise I'm pretty happy with where the channel's at. I'm enjoying doing it, and I enjoy, communicating and kind of starting a whole community to some degree. And that's what, at least one of my big goals. Third question is, where can you see it in 5 years' time? My goodness, that's the far off futuristic date of 2021. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, potentially, I guess it could be something that becomes, I don't know. I guess it could become something that becomes a business where I don't, go to a normal day job anymore. I just do this. It's potential. I don't know. Maybe it's a side thing that I do that, helps to supplement my income and that kind of stuff. And I'd have to figure out how to kind of go about that without making it too, I don't want to say the word desperate, but there are certain channels and there are certain people out there that are constantly like, oh, please, help in this and that and the other thing, and that's cool. I mean, I'm all for Patreon. People have asked me before in comments and even on the live shows on the Every Other Sunday show. They've been like, hey, how can I support? Do you guys have a, do you guys, and by you guys I mean basically me, sometimes the cats, and sometimes my wife, and actually Matt's been helping. So maybe, and then of course, I guess there's Sam. So it is becoming kind of a small community around on this end as well of the camera. But my point is, people have asked. I've been thinking about a Patreon. I haven't been thinking super hard about it. But where I could see it in 5 years, I don't know. I'm hoping to just keep doing it and just to keep making things happen. At that point, maybe I'll have a line of products. Maybe I'll have, I don't know. I mean, I hope the community gets bigger. I hope that I get more subscribers. I mean, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I want it to go forward, but I can't really look that far ahead. I certainly don't have plans to go that far ahead. I mean, I hope to go that far ahead. I just don't have anything planned out. So, yeah, I'm not that far ahead in my planning. I'm lucky if I'm a couple of weeks ahead in front of my planning. So, yeah. But, yeah, 5 years, that's the future, man. I don't know. The fourth question is, do you have any advice for setting up a YouTube channel? I would say the most important thing to setting up a YouTube channel is to just get started. I mean, you can plan ahead. You can sit down and go, okay, well, I want to make sure I have this branding and I have a logo already and I do all of this and I don't have a weird name. There are big video channels out there in YouTube right now that have a goofy name that they sort of came up with originally, and now they're quite huge and they still have this sort of weird name. And I'm not even talking about wargaming. There's a video game channel that I watch from time to time, which the name of the channel is Frankie on PC in 1080p, which, is a mouthful, certainly. And with him, honestly, it's totally the personality. That's why I like to watch his videos. I'm not a big PC gamer at all, but I like to watch his videos. He and a friend, they play these different games, and just the interaction between the two, it makes me laugh, and I enjoy it. But even he has said in his videos, at this point now he's generally gaming in 4K. So he's like, yeah, that was maybe not necessarily the best plan. So kind of planning ahead a little bit is important, but don't plan so much that you don't get started. Just start. There are people that'll do it on their cell phone. There are people that'll do, I get fancy, but that's kind of what I like to do. That's, like I said, I'm trying to teach myself video production. But if you just want to have a channel and reach out to people and start doing these things and teaching people, just start doing it. That's really like the most important part. The last question is, what would you add to improve YouTube for the community? Gosh, that's a good question. I mean, right now we've got, it's very easy to upload and to put videos onto YouTube. Those of you who are doing either Google Hangouts or YouTube Live, I use generally YouTube Live. They're both kind of slightly the same thing, but built in different packages. I mean, that really helps. That allows you to really get involved with the community. I would like to see, I suppose, the ad revenue go up. Who wouldn't? I mean, everybody thinks that they would like to have more money. That's fine. I'm trying to think of like technological things. There are things that are currently like in the live streams that are out there that I don't even have I don't even know about yet. Evidently, you can do multi-camera, and I need to look into that. I keep remembering, oh yeah, I should research that, but I haven't. I would like to get more interaction with YouTube, if anything. I'd like to have, like, I had a person who contacted me, and she was kind of my YouTube rep for a little while, but it was only like a couple of months. It wasn't like I always have a YouTube rep. When I hit 25,000, they're like, okay, we're going to send this person, they're going to email you, and I had a couple of phone calls, but it was literally just like, hey, we're doing it for 2 months, and then after that, you don't have a rep anymore. So it was just kind of a like, we're going to try to point you in the right direction and then let you go. That's cool. I wish that I, had a little bit more access to that kind of stuff. But again, in the grand scheme of things amongst YouTubers, I'm really sort of infinitesimal. So yeah, I don't know. As far as YouTube is concerned, I think that we as a niche within gaming, tabletop gaming, tabletop wargaming, we have really good community. Like, the commenters are generally pretty good, and I like to answer as many as I can, as you know, but I've very rarely ever come across the type of stuff that you see when you watch, or when you look at other videos, like within video gaming or just in general, like viral stuff or whatever. The comments get crazy. Our people, I think, are really good, and they say thoughtful things, and they that kind of stuff, which is helpful. They ask questions, and I try to answer. So yeah, I don't know. I can't think of a specific thing. Like I said, I'd like to see a little bit more, I don't know, like actual involvement with YouTube with more of the creators. But there's only so many people that work in that company, even though it's huge. I get that, but yeah, I don't know. That's a good question, and I would say that there's not a technological thing that I can think of, but there's definitely, I'd like to see YouTube get a little bit involved, and of course, like I said, the revenue, but that may come because eventually someone's going to really start to eat YouTube's lunch and really start to give them some competition, and then YouTube is going to have to probably raise their revenue a little bit that goes out to the creators, so that I don't know, so that we don't jump ship or whatever. I mean, and that'll be interesting when that comes, and I know a lot of us are looking forward to that day, but we'll see how it goes. Well, so that's it, pretty much. There's my 5 questions. I hope that you enjoyed them. I hope they were at least vaguely interesting, the answers that I gave. I'd like to thank the Wargamer Viking for kind of, shooting me a message and getting me involved in this sort of thing. I like to see these community things amongst us, YouTubing wargamers, wargaming YouTubers, whatever. I like to see that kind of stuff happen, and I like to get involved when I can. So, yeah, I appreciate it again to Spud, and if you guys got any comments below or kind of questions and things like that, you know how I like to answer comments generally, so yeah, drop them in there, and there'll be a link to the Wargaming Viking in the description as well, so you can go check that out, check out his video, and kind of go from there. I think that he's been linking to other people who also post in response and stuff, so it's kind of like an old-timey web ring a little bit, if you remember those, if you're old enough to remember those. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So again, I appreciate it, and thanks for watching.